Hello, you can call me B27. Don't ask why. When I was younger, probably less than 7 years old, around 5 or so, I recalled something strange. It frightened me so much that I almost started to cry, but I couldn't. There were no tears, just a small, sharp gasp. I was playing in the shallow parts of the water, not because I couldn't swim, but because I was rolling around and playing. My memory is fragmented for various reasons, so I apologize if I don't provide too many details. As I played, I began to feel sad and uneasy, no matter where I sat or stood. After a few minutes of tearing up, I started laughing and playing again. I'm not sure if what I encountered that day had anything to do with my emotions, but considering they started acting up before the issue began, it's very possible. I say I'm not sure because I was born with a few mental health problems, but anyway, back to the story. As I played, I rolled around in the same spot twice, but the second time around was, well, as I mentioned, if I could have cried at that moment, I would have. I remember wanting to scream, but nothing came out. What I grabbed that day would haunt me for the rest of my life. Initially, I thought it was a mask, but there was grass and skin and it felt like hard bone. My fingers had landed in the eye holes. It was gross. When I moved my arm up, it came with it. Reflecting on it now, it looked like someone had carved the front of a human skull off and then flattened it into a sick mask. I felt scared, confused, and sick all at once. I've had some weird things happen in my life. This happened about 15 years ago during the school holidays. My friend, let's call her Sarah, and I were extremely bored and just wanted to chill. It was summertime, and we lived in a small town called New Braunfels in Texas, where everything was spread out. We didn't know where to go around midnight, so we decided to go to the park. It's a bit large. We were there for an hour or so, and nothing unusual happened until we both saw someone or something crouched on a table. Firstly, it was weird that someone else was in the same park at this time. What was creepy, though, was that this person was crouching on a table instead of sitting on the bench. What disturbed me was that, as I kept looking closer, I noticed that there were wings. The body was completely human, but had wings, the part that I'll never forget. All of a sudden, the most blood-curdling scream, like a woman being stabbed to death, sounded. It was like a woman's scream, but inhuman at the same time, something a normal person doesn't do, but a scream animals can't even make. It was almost like those screams in a movie that a demon or something makes. Then it stood up, and this figure had to be at least 8 feet tall. We both ran as fast as we could. Have you ever run to your lungs' maximum capacity? I ran until I had no air left in my lungs, and then kept running until I had to slow down because I was coughing too much. We knocked on people's doors and kept getting threatened that they had guns and would shoot if we didn't leave. We were locked outside with this thing. I kept looking into the sky because this reminded me of Jeepers Creepers in the movie. After maybe 20 minutes, the police showed up and, of course, thought we were on drugs. They wanted to let us go. I walked the rest because I lived a few blocks away, and the police drove my friend home. There was a white cop and a Mexican cop. When the Mexican cop heard the story, he pretended like it was just made up, but the look on his face said he knew something about this thing that nobody knew. I have PTSD now, and hate going outside alone at night, especially near parks or the woods. Weird people don't scare cops, and animals don't scare cops. You know it was something much worse if a cop lies and can't keep a straight face because of fear. Like I said, it's a story that happened, and I remember it clearly as day. But it's a story that nobody believes. I tried to make it as short as possible. Hi. Can you please tell me if you can explain what I'm about to share with you? A few months ago, my good girlfriend, let's call her Lisa, and I went to the forest to smoke. The forest is about 1 kilometer behind the village where I live. Just for the record, we were going there every weekend. So it was just a normal Saturday, and the forest was beautiful. Everything was normal until we found a random path that Lisa discovered, about 10 meters behind the bench we were sitting on. We walked on that path, and at the end there was a perfect circle made of trees, normal trees, just like any others in the forest. We entered the circle, with me in the middle and Lisa standing next to me. Right when we entered, birds stopped tweeting, and it started to get cloudy, even though the entire day had been sunny and warm. Also, it was freezing. I looked up at the sky, and then I felt different. I don't know how to explain that feeling, like I had just teleported somewhere I'd never been. I looked at Lisa, and she looked confused too. It was kind of creepy, so we decided to go back. We started packing our things because it felt like someone was watching us. We took our bikes and slowly left the forest. At the exit, I felt like something touched my back. I screamed and started riding my bike as fast as I could. I stopped in the middle of the road to wait for Lisa, who was behind me. When she caught up, it was even colder. My hands were freezing. I couldn't feel them and couldn't move them. We decided to go slow again because we were far from the forest. After some time, I realized that no matter how far we were, when we looked back at the forest, it looked like it was about 10 meters away. When we finally came back to the village, everything was warmer. We went to my house and called our very good friend. Let's call him Phil. He came, and we told him what happened, and he was shocked. Lisa also told me that when I felt like someone touched me, she saw something behind me. For the rest of the day, the three of us watched a movie to relax. Lisa had to go, so Phil and I walked her home. After that, I went home, and Phil went to a party. The next day, Phil told Lisa and me that when he was walking home, he passed by the road that led to the forest when he heard something. I don't remember what that thing was saying, but it was something like keys. Phil is not schizophrenic, and nothing like that had ever happened to him. Also, all the way home, he was sweating and felt like something was watching him. The next week, Lisa and I wanted to show Phil a circle made of trees, but when we got to the end of the same path, there was no circle. A month after the incident, all three of us had nightmares every night. Recently, Lisa and I have been talking to people who are no longer with us in our dreams. Lisa was talking to her dead cousin. About a week ago, I had a dream, and in the dream, there was a man who had done something bad to me and Lisa, and he was dead, and his wife was standing next to him. He was apologizing for what he did, and his wife was crying. At that moment, I knew that he wasn't with us anymore, and I was confused. I don't know if these dreams have anything to do with the incident. Please, if you know what this situation is, tell me. I would be very grateful.